So Shabbat Shalom. It's been quite a week. Right? It's actually a lot for us to be joyful for this Shabbat, which is a nice change. Right? Obviously, it looks like the country might be going back into another lockdown. However, we have a lot to celebrate. Today being Juneteenth, it's celebrating the official end of slavery here in the U.S. when on June 19th, 1965, the Union Army reached Texas and freed the 250,000 remaining slaves in that state. So a lot of people celebrate July 4th as Independence Day, but June 19th, is the day when all Americans officially got their freedom. Obviously, there was still an uphill battle to go, and we're still fighting a battle, but a lot to celebrate today. So happy Juneteenth. Also this week, we have SCOTUS, Supreme Court ruling that Title IX of the Civil Rights Act protects LGBTQI individuals regarding employment, and with that decision then having an impact, most likely, on all other aspects, I don't know what just happened there, on all other aspects of society. And then most remarkably, that 6-3 majority opinion being written by Justice Gorsuch. And even better, of course, this ruling being handed down in the month of June, in the month that we celebrate Pride. So a lot to be joyful there as well. And then Supreme Court surprising us again by ruling that the Trump administration illegally rescinded protections for DACA applicants, thereby protecting those who had no choice in coming to this country, but no other home, and who contribute so much both to the growth and to the culture of our country. So God willing, there will not be sufficient time for this administration to be able to work around the guidelines laid out from the Supreme Court ruling, right? But still, it leaves us in this very kind of joyful place where we are right now. So we have a lot to celebrate. Not only that, here at Mishkan, we elected our new incoming board of directors to start July 1st with the new fiscal year. So we have a lot to be happy about, lot to celebrate. So we were able to take a break and just rejoice this Shabbat, which is really good. So what I want to invite you to do, I want to invite you to take some deep breaths. And if there's any stress or pain or anger that you've been holding on to from this past week, right, when you breathe out, just let that out. Just let that go. And with each breath in, bring in that joy of this momentous Shabbat. And if you need to do anything, just kind of get comfy where you're sitting, open up a window, pour yourself a drink, whatever it is. We're gonna keep a bit more an upbeat feeling with our prayers this evening. We're going to begin with Yedid Nefesh. harachaman nishoch avdach eretzonach yarutz avdach kimo aya ishtachaveh hadarach ki yeravlo yedidutach ninofet sufechot ha'am yai dai 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 yam dai dai yai dai 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 yam dai 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 dai. All right, so it looks like we lost Jeff there. Now it looks like he's coming back, and he'll be able to let some people in. All right, Jeff's our co-host again. Jeff, it looked like Myron tried getting in a couple times, so I want to make sure that we let him in the next time he shows up.
I had a technical problem. I lost the connection.
Okay. All right. We're going to continue with Ya'alo Sadai, the idea that the fields and all they contain are going to rejoice. Right? That when there's joy in the world, it's not contained just to us, right? But it's the whole world, and we can tell when the world is happier and the sun is shining, when the flowers are blooming and everything seems to be going well. So Ya'alo Sadai. Ya'alo Sadai, v'cho asher bo Ya'alo Sadai, Ya'adadadai, Ya'alo Sadai, v'cho asher bo Ya'alo Sadai, Ya'adadadai, az yiranenu kol hatzei ya'ar, az yiranenu kol hatzei ya'ar, az yiranenu kol hatzei ya'ar, az yiranenu kol hatzei Ya'alo Sadai, v'cho asher bo Ya'alo Sadai, Ayadadai, Ya'alo Sadai, v'cho asher bo Ya'alo Sadai, Ayadadai, az yiranenu kol hatzei ya'ar, az yiranenu kol hatzei ya'ar, az yiranenu kol hatzei ya'ar, az yiranenu kol hatzei Ya'alo Sadai, v'cho asher bo Ya'alo Sadai, Ayadadai, Ya'alo Sadai, v'cho asher bo Ya'alo Sadai, Ayadadai, az yiranenu kol hatzei ya'ar, az yiranenu kol hatzei ya'ar, az yiranenu kol hatzei ya'ar, az yiranenu kol hatzei Ya'alo Sadai, v'cho asher bo Ya'alo Sadai, Amnadai, Ya'alo Sadai, v'cho asher bo Ya'alo Sadai, Ayadadai. I love that melody. Those first two melodies are both written by the community Mishkon Tephilo in Yerushalayim, Yoel Sykes and Daphne Rosenberg, two beautiful souls and dear friends. So it's kind of nice to be able to hold on to them as we bring in Shabbat. We're going to sing Adonai Oz, and actually Adonai Oz and L'Charodi that we're going to be singing both are written by Rabbi Aviva Funke. So we're holding Aviva with us this Shabbat as well, all the way in Arizona, where this past week she lost her rabbi, one of her teachers, one of her mentors who presented her for ordination, Rabbi Micah Kaplan, who died suddenly, tragically, last weekend. not only that, but obviously Arizona is on fire. So we're holding everybody, all of our friends in Scottsdale, the Phoenix area, in our hearts this Shabbat. Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitein. Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitein. Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitein. Adonai Yivarech et amo b'shalom. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. Yai nai 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 nai, yai nai nai yai nai, yai nai nai nai, nai 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 nai, hai nai yai nai, yai nai nai nai, hai nai yai nai, yai nai nai yai nai. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai yivarech, Adonai yivarech, Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. We sing to welcome the Sabbath bride, the Chadodi. So I had that joy of being at a wedding. My daughter was looking at photos this past week of actually she wasn't looking at photos. She drew a picture of the Dead Sea because her aunt got married at the Dead Sea, or just near the Dead Sea, back in November. And the joy of that wedding and that experience. And we stayed in yurts, and we were talking about yurts this past week, and all of a sudden she decided to make this picture with a tree, and she glued rocks to the bottom. She said, this is a palm tree at the Dead Sea. Right? That joy that we experience at a wedding just stays with us forever. And the hope is that when we welcome Shabbat, framing it in the context of a wedding, that joy and that peace and that tranquility from Shabbat will stay with us as we go into the week to come. So we welcome the Sabbath bride. We sing the final stanza, Boi V'Shalom. בשמחה ובשולה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. וחדודי לקראת חלה, פני שבת נקבלה. וחדודי לקראת חלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובשולה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לחדודי לקראת חלה, פני שבת נקבלה. 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 We turn to the Psalm for Shabbat. We turn to the Psalm for Shabbat. We sing the last bit, Tzadik Katamar. Tzadik Katamar Yifrach, right? The righteous will flourish like a palm tree, right? And will bloom like a cedar and grow like a cedar in Lebanon. The idea that when someone is on the righteous path and they're doing what's just in the world, they're going to continue to thrive, right? Nobody can cut them down. And I'm reminded of a video that I saw from this past week in Bethel, Ohio. They probably should be Bethel, but in Ohio we pronounce everything incorrectly, so it's probably Bethel, Ohio, down by Cincinnati, right across the Ohio River from Kentucky. So it's pretty southern, even though it's technically in the north. And there was a young woman, 16 years old, who was marching in honor of Black Lives. And you might have seen this, right? There were 80 people who turned out to march for Black Lives, and hundreds of people who turned up to counter-protest, swearing and yelling at the protesters, cursing them out. And even the mother of the 16-year-old was marching with her and recording, and people were yelling at her and telling her she was raising her child wrong. And at some point, some man grabbed the sign that this 16-year-old girl was holding, ripped it out of her hand, tore it up, threw it down, smacked her in the head and hit her up, I think either threw her down or against the wall. I can't remember exactly what it was. But she really was abused. And she didn't just go home. She instead went back to her car, wherever she was, and she made a new sign, and she continued marching. Because when you're on the path of righteousness, when you're on that path of justice, nobody can hold you down. And she kept going. And I'm just inspired by her perseverance this week. So sing Tzadik Katamar, and I hold that 16-year-old girl in my heart and my thoughts as I sing this psalm for Shabbat. Tzadik, tzadik, katamar yifrach. Tzadik, katamar yifrach. Tzadik, tzadik, katamar yifrach. Tzadik, katamar yifrach. Ge'erez Babanon yiske, yiske, yiske. Babanon yiske, yiske, yiske. Mahifra. Tzadik Tzadik Katamar Hifra. Tzadik Katamar Hifra. May we all be inspired by her strength. This tiny little blonde teenager going up against these huge southern truckers. Really impressive. Now, there are a lot of people in our lives in need of some healing this Shabbat. Because of COVID, and we're starting to see an uptick again in Israel and all around this country. Or people who have been abused at the hands of authority, or just people who are ill or hurting emotionally from all this social distancing. There are a lot of people in our lives in need of some healing, and quite even possibly ourselves. And it's important that we remember that, and remember to take care of ourselves as well, and to be good to ourselves. And Shabbat's a good opportunity for that, right? Be able to do something that really brings you joy. Whether it's the food you're going to be eating tonight, tomorrow, whether it's just taking some time to be outside and enjoy some fresh air. Hopefully you can be in a place where there aren't any other Californians within 6 or more feet of you, so that you can maybe take off your mask and actually breathe in some fresh air at some point. Right? But it's really important that we say this prayer of healing. So we're going to, if there's anybody in your life in need of healing, I invite you to just say their name out loud wherever you are. Be able to hold them in your heart. And if it's yourself, say your name as well. Ana Elna Refanala. 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 Full Shlema, full and speedy recovery to all those in need. We're going to sing Shalom Aleichem to welcome the angels who are guiding us as we come to our homes on Shabbat. So we'll sing Shalom Aleichem, and then we'll light the candles and say Kiddush, and then we'll see each other in the morning. I guess before we do all this, I'll just let you know, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. we have services. Services are not going to be live streamed to Facebook. So if you're watching us right now on Facebook, know that you won't be able to live stream through Facebook, but you can do so at mishkan.org/livestream. Just have to log in to be able to access the live stream. But we're trying to encourage people to join us for a more interactive Zoom Shabbat experience. So it's not just me leading everything. We've got a couple other people participating in the service tomorrow morning as well. So please join us for that. No other programming the rest of the weekend. Next week our programming is just a standard adult education that we have listed on their website at mishkon.org/calendar. The one thing to know, though, is that a survey went out this past week for high holidays. We would love to know people's opinions. We'd love to know if you are in favor of us holding services in person for high holidays, or if you'd prefer we not. And if we don't hold them in person, different aspects. It takes about 5 minutes to fill out the survey. It's about a dozen questions. So please, if you got the email, please fill out that survey so we can make sure that we are crafting the high holiday experience in a way that reflects the needs, wants, desires of the entire community, not just members of Mishkan, but also the non-members who are planning on hoping to celebrate high holidays with us this year as well. Bezrat Hashem, God willing. So we're going to now do Shalom Aleichem and then candles and Kiddush. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzidchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Can I reach? I can reach. Candle lighting technically isn't for almost an hour, so no rush to light at home if you don't want to. Of course, you can always. And it seems these matches don't want me to bring it in either. Here we go. Of course, you always can bring in Shabbat a little early if you want. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And Kiddush. Vayer vayivok yom hashishi. Vaychulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chotzevam. Vaychalohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa. Vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayivarech Elohim et yom hashavi'i vaykadesh oto. Ki vo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Savri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, b'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh, HaShabbat. And Shabbat Shalom, everybody. If you're here with us on Zoom, we'll make it so that